Hi, I'm Juan Galloway.
And I'm Mombo Galloway.
Welcome to the Leaders with a Mission podcast.
We have been missionary leaders for over 20 years, and it has been a wild ride, people. Juan and I serve at YWAM Kona on the President's Office team.
We travel around the world coaching amazing missionaries and training their teams on healthy leadership. Over 30 countries so far. Because how else will we accomplish the Great Commission and reach the nations unless we have servant leaders who are crushing it for Jesus?
YWAM is all about championing young people, and we are here to help you level up your game as a visionary leader.
Whatever your age is or your stage is, together we can do deep dives on essential leadership topics. Hey, we don't mind taking on tough issues, and we aren't afraid to laugh at ourselves.
That's true. Let's get real and discover our blind spots so that we can see how we are impacting our team, and ask the Holy Spirit to show us how to grow into the world changers that God is calling us to be.
Whether you are a YWAMer, a missionary, a pastor, or just a fired up believer who wants to grow as a leader, we welcome you. Join us as we explore how to be leaders with a mission. If you're just tuning into our podcast, this is actually part 3 of a series we call Relationship Rehab. In episode 3, we discussed how we can get triggered by present situations because of wounds from our past and how to deactivate those triggers. In episode 4, we tackled how to be a peacemaker as opposed to a peace faker or peace breaker. To conclude this series, we will now explore Jesus' strategy for resolving conflict and share one of our secret weapons called the empathy script. Let's get to it. We're going to, of course, tackle Matthew 18. Jesus says, "If another believer sins against you, go privately and point out the offense. If the other person listens and confesses it, you've won that person back. But if you're unsuccessful, take 1 or 2 others with you and go back again, so that everything you say may be confirmed by 2 or 3 witnesses. If the person still refuses to listen, take your case to the church. Then, if he or she won't accept the church's decision, treat that person as a pagan or a corrupt tax collector."
Wow.
Got a lot of layers here.
There's so many things here. And the last thing, some versions even say, treat them as an unbeliever. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh my goodness. There's so much here. And so we're going to teach you the 5 steps of Matthew 18. And when we ran a missions base outside of New York City, this is something that we taught our staff every year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because it's again, the enemy's strategy is to divide and conquer. So, and we know that this can make people nervous, conflict resolution. So you have to keep teaching it and training over and over and over. Like, this is who we are. This is what the Bible says. This is our culture. We're going to do it. We're going to practice it.
Yes. If something's your culture, you have to teach it annually. And that way, and hold people accountable to actually doing it.
Yeah.
So if you teach Matthew 18 really well to your team, or even if you're leading an outreach to another country, mm-hmm. If you teach this to your outreach team, your outreach is going to be so much better, much easier.
True.
Because the truth of Matthew 18 is they don't even come to you as a leader with a problem until the very end. They're dealing with it on other levels and layers. And we're going to go into that. So I hold up my hand and use all my fingers. And I start with like a thumbs up. Mm-hmm. And I say, number 1.
Step 1.
With the thumb up. Go to God and forgive them first. Now, I know it's not in Matthew 18, but I think anytime we start any reconciliation process, the first step is always to go to God.
Well, yeah, because, again, Jesus said, "Learn from me. I'm gentle and humble in heart." It means we've got to get our heart ready, right? We've got to go to God and say, "God, I want to be gentle and humble. I don't want to make this worse or attack them. Mm-hmm. I'm angry, I'm hurt, I'm upset, but I give you my feelings.
Right.
But give me a heart of reconciliation and to love them, even though I'm not feeling so good about them right now. Give
Yeah.
me your heart for them. You love them.
Yeah. And maybe you don't agree with them, but you can still forgive them
Yeah.
as a human being, as a person.
There's this great quote by Loren Cunningham. It's time for a killer quote. And he says this: forgiveness is laying down your life psychologically for another. It's laying down your emotional rights. Fear is a big hindrance to forgiveness, especially fear of further hurts. Forgiveness is the very key to protecting yourself from future hurts. He says when you truly forgive, it's like a broken bone is set in a cast to mend. If it were not straightened, that arm or leg would be permanently misshapen. Our souls need to be straightened out with forgiveness instead of being allowed to twist and harden with bitterness and hurts we hold on to. The act of forgiveness releases emotional healing, making you strong enough to withstand future hurts. So he wrote that in the book, Making Jesus Lord, the dynamic power of laying down your rights. And he's so right. You know, there's something about like when a broken bone, talking about relationship rehab, if it's reset the wrong way, it's always going to be crippled.
Right. It's always going to have pain.
Yes. And I met someone in Africa once. We were on outreach speaking in a church, and a woman had a broken arm. It had been broken for years. And she had no medical treatment. So she just lived with a broken arm. And so Loren is saying forgiveness actually makes you the arm stronger than it was before it got broken.
Right.
And so if we go to the Lord and lay down our rights and say, Lord, I forgive this person. I know they did me wrong, but I've done you wrong, Lord. And you forgave me, so I'm going to forgive them.
And there's that verse that says that if you don't forgive others, you're not forgiven.
Exactly.
I mean, it's really major.
Heavy.
So the first thing you want to do before you go to someone, number one, is you go to God.
Step 1.
Right? And then number two is you go to the person.
Step 2.
So hold up 2 fingers. How many fingers are up? 2. There's 2 of you, right? Going. And the Bible says here in Matthew 18, if another believer sins against you, go how? How do you go to them? Well, it says to go privately. You go privately and point out the offense. And if the other person listens and confesses it, you've won that person back. So this is why it's so important for your team to know Matthew 18, because when they come to you with a problem with somebody, you can say to them, did you Matthew 18 that?
Did you Matthew 18 that?
And that means, did you go to them privately and talk to them about it yet? And they'll be like, no. And you're like, well, I can't talk to you about this until you go and do step number 1 in Matthew 18 and go to them privately and talk to them about it. And of course, it matters how you go to them, right? You want to have kind eyes. You want to have a kind smile. You don't want to be in an intimidating pose. You want to have your arms kind of open and at your side. And you want to even smile and show care. And I say this is the perfect time to sandwich your message in love. And some of you already know this, but just for a reminder for those who don't, sandwiching in love is saying something kind to them. Something complimentary to them, something to help them to feel safe talking to you. And then
Not flattery, but actually something true, of value you see in that person.
Yeah.
You know, so they feel it. One of the things I would say if I have to address something hard is, you know what? I really value you as a friend. And I don't want anything to come between us. And that's why I wanted to share this other thing.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it. Right. Or you could go to them and say, you know, when you lead worship, I just think it's so anointed. I wish I could sing. I just can't sing at all. I have a horrible voice, but I really love how you sing and you lead worship. It's really great. And I really respect you and honor you for that gifting. I did want to talk to you about something though. And then that's the meat in the sandwich, the situation, whatever it happened, like something that's been happening, not something you let go of, like a little thing that you forgive, because we want to be quick to forgive. We want to give grace always, but maybe it's something that keeps happening, right? And then we bring it up then. And again, we don't do it with an accusatory voice like you this and you that and why'd you blah, blah, blah. That's like a baby.
Yeah.
If you're doing that, you're a baby.
That's not peacemaking at all.
No, it's peace breaking and it's hurtful and harmful. And I would say it's spiritual abuse, actually, to act like you're a Christian, you're a minister and yell at people and accuse them of things. If you're a pastor or a base leader or a school leader and you're yelling at people, you need to step down. You need to step down and get yourself under control.
A friend of ours once lived in family housing on a YWAM missions base, and his family apartment sat near an outdoor gathering area where one of the schools was hosting a love feast. A celebration for students who had completed the lecture phase of their discipleship training school, and they're preparing to leave for outreach. Now, this friend is one of the most patient and gracious people you'll ever meet. He's not the kind of person who complains. In fact, he'll usually put up with inconvenience much longer than most people would. That evening, the music from the celebration was extremely loud. At first, he assumed it was just a song or two and things would settle down soon. But as the night went on, the volume increased and it got later and later. And several of the songs being played were secular songs which contained explicit sexual content. The sound was carrying directly into the family housing area where, children were trying to sleep. After waiting for quite a while, he decided to respectfully address the situation. He first spoke with the sound person, who directed him to go to the school leader overseeing the event. He calmly explained that families nearby were struggling to get their children to sleep because of the noise, and he also gently mentioned that some of the lyrics being broadcast across the base were inappropriate, especially considering the setting. Now, because the music was so loud, both men had to raise their voices simply to hear each other. Perhaps that contributed to the misunderstanding. Whatever the reason, the school leader became defensive and angry. Rather than listening, he responded with insults, dismissive comments, and essentially told him nothing was going to change. My friend was stunned and just walked back to his apartment. What surprised him most wasn't the loud music. It wasn't even the disagreement. It was that a leader, a missionary who's a minister of the gospel, would respond that way to someone who had approached him respectfully. Now, at the time, he was a relatively new staff member on this campus, and he found himself wondering, if this is how leaders treat people here, do I even want to be a part of this? To his credit, he did follow the principles of Matthew 18, and he sought to address the conflict directly and biblically. We won't go into all the details of what happened afterward, because the point of the story isn't the conflict itself. The point is leadership. Every leader will eventually be confronted with an unexpected complaint, a criticism, or disagreement. That's inevitable. But the real question is, how will we respond? Will we become defensive? Will we try to protect our pride? Or will we lash out? Hi-ya! Because when we're tired, embarrassed, or caught off guard? That's happened to me. Or will we respond with humility, patience, and love? People often remember less about the decision a leader made, but more about how that leader treated them in the moment. A mature leader doesn't have to agree, with every concern that's brought to them, but they should always strive to make the person feel heard, respected, and valued. The ministry of Jesus was filled with interruptions, inconveniences, and difficult conversations. Yet he consistently treated people with dignity. As leaders on mission bases or campuses, our calling is not merely to run programs well, it's to love people well. Sometimes the greatest testimony of our maturity isn't found in how we preach, teach, or lead a meeting. It's found in how we respond when someone knocks on our door with the concern.
Yeah. And the reason why we want to make peace with people and we want to practice the first step of Matthew 18 is the Bible works.
Yeah.
The Bible works. Because this is the first thing people say, I can't go talk to them. They won't understand. They whatever.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what the devil's telling you. Are you listening to God's voice, the devil? Because God's voice says to go to them privately, right? And so if you're not doing that, you're not following what Jesus said to do. And I would say 98% of the time, and by the way, this percentage is completely made up.
But it seems like
Feels like it.
Well, and we've seen it almost always work out.
Yeah, 98% of the time it works out. Like the person, if they're like a normal person, they'll be like, oh, I did? Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I did that. Oh, please forgive me. I'll try not to do that anymore.
This is the case with offense so many times. The person literally has no idea they did something offensive.
Right.
Now, sometimes they know immediately, oh, I was being a jerk. You're right. I thought about that the other day. But other times you're like, what? Oh my gosh, I hurt your feelings and I didn't even know it.
Yeah. And as a leader, when you have people come to you with an offense,
Yeah.
that should be your response. It shouldn't be like, what's wrong with you? Or you're too sensitive or you're crazy.
defensive.
Yeah, they get defensive. Or I didn't do that. Don't do that. Don't say I didn't do that. You obviously did something or they wouldn't have come to you. In fact, they probably didn't sleep the night before because they had to come talk to you and they're terrified. I'm scared. Right? So what you do when someone comes to you with an offense, you'll be like, oh no, really? Oh, I'm so sorry. You show empathy to them. You show care because are you like Jesus? Are you in the spirit or are you in the flesh? Are you a real Christian or are you a wolf in sheep's clothing?
Well,
It'll show by your response when this happens.
I had this happen where I offended somebody, but I had no idea. And a friend of mine who was a fellow missionary came to me and he said, Juan, do you have something against me because I'm black?
Oh,
And my heart sank in my chest. And I was like, what?
oh my gosh.
And I loved this guy. He was so sweet. And I just couldn't believe it. I was like, why? Why do you think that? What have I done? And he said, every day you walk into the office and you go straight into your office and close the door and you never say hello to me. Well, I realized we were the first two people to get to the office in our ministry. And I was always in my head thinking about all the projects and tasks I had to do. So I just go straight to my office and close the door, not realizing I was completely blowing him off. And I was wrong. And I told him, I said, you know what? That was wrong. I should not have done that. And from now on, when I come into the office in the morning, I'm going to come straight to your office and greet you because you're my friend. And from then on, every morning I'd come in and I'd go knock on his door and go, good morning. And he would say, good morning, Juan. And it was like everything was healed.
Yeah.
Everything was restored. Because I had kind of a sin of omission. I was sinning against him, but I didn't realize it. But once I knew it, I was like, thank you, God, for revealing this so I can be close to this guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes we don't realize we're ignoring people and how that's actually an offense.
Right.
And that can be difficult for introverts like you. You're very introverted.
Yeah.
And so if you're a natural introvert, the Bible says become all things to all people. And so sometimes you're going to have to step out of your comfort zone to go talk to somebody and go confront them in love. Matthew 18 it.
Did you Matthew 18 that?
Step 2.
So you have to choose a quiet, safe place after you calm down. Okay. Now, if you're meeting with someone of the opposite sex, okay, you do not need to be in a private place. You want to meet in it could be the cafe, it could be the cafeteria,
Outside.
it could be where there's other people, like outside there's other people walking by. So, but you want to actually take time to meet to show that you're actually meeting about something.
Not in passing or
Right.
line, at the cafeteria.
Yeah. And if we're scared, this is what we're tempted to do. I'm scared. We're tempted to just say it really quick in passing and then walk away, and they don't even know what you're talking about, and you're already gone. That's not sitting down and talking to them about it.
Yeah.
It's really like a sit down, face to face.
Right. We need to talk.
Yeah, in a safe place. And before I even go in further, I'm going to talk about people who are spiritually abusive or physically abusive. What? Maybe you can address that, actually.
Yeah. Matthew 18, unfortunately, sometimes has been weaponized, meaning someone who's abusive, and by abuse, I mean true abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. This has been used as, oh, well, you need to practice Matthew 18. If you have a problem with me, you need to just come talk to me about it alone. Well, of course not.
Right.
Jesus is talking about basically hurt feelings between peers.
Right.
Right. And when there's a power dynamic, like a pastor or a leader of a base, sometimes that person has the authority to fire somebody, punish someone, consequences, and they could use that against you. And so if you have been traumatized,
Right.
that's when you know, there may have been abuse here. I feel like I'm going to throw up. I
Right.
can't sleep and I'm sweating. That's not a simple little disagreement between friends.
Right.
It's not safe to go to someone alone who has abused you.
Right.
That's when you might need way more strategic and professional help and authority to protect the flock. That's what the shepherd does. He protects the flock from wolves.
Right. And when somebody is in leadership and they're wrong, it's public correction usually. So you might need to go over their head to talk to the person over them. If it's something really significant. Now we're talking about cussing you out,
Hurting you.
touching your leg inappropriately.
Touching you at all.
Touching
Nobody should
you.
be touching you in rough ways.
Yeah. I mean, people hug each other in church though, and
That's
pat
not
you on the
rough.
back. That's normal. But yeah, anything like that, like if it's something that's like physical abuse or calling you names, or sometimes, I don't know,
Yelling.
I'm going to bring something up that I've never put in this training before. And because it's real for women.
Okay.
And that is, some men in this world act really good. But when they're in private with you, they act really bad. And you don't know what to do with that. It's like,
A flip of personality.
yeah. And either they're angry at you, or you seem terrified. You feel like you need to throw up. You feel like you're in danger. All the signals go up, like you start sweating because you're like, I'm not safe. I'm not safe. And you feel it because the way they're behaving, and it's in private. And so I'm never in private with the opposite sex. I always have the door open, or I'm around other people, except for my husband, of course. But for this reason, to protect myself, because there are some men out there who act really bad and different when they're alone with a woman, and they treat her bad and make her cry.
It's a power play thing.
Yeah. And so in that instance, you definitely should not go directly to them in private. You probably need to talk to somebody about that, either their authority, and let them know that this is happening.
And this is not the average occurrence, obviously. This
No.
kind of thing is way more rare, but it does happen. And you should not feel coerced or forced to go to the person who has abused you,
No.
to confront them. That's inappropriate and unsafe.
Right. In fact, if you're leading a ministry base, or you're a country leader or anything like that, there definitely should be a whistleblower policy for these sorts of things. Maybe you can explain what a whistleblower policy is, because we always made sure we had that when we were
Sure.
in charge.
Yeah, a whistleblower policy is one of the best policies that you can create with any ministry or organization. It just means that there is a clear path to report something that is dangerous within the organization. Something even like theft is one they would have, maybe even in the corporate world. Like if you report something that's wrong, it won't be used against you by the boss or used against you by a coworker to get you fired, for example. But in the ministry world, the whistleblower policy means there's someone who will research the claim, the report that's been made. They will verify or not that something unsafe, unhealthy, wrong has happened, and they'll come back and find resolution no matter what. And there's a
Right.
system of accountability for that, not just, I'll look into it. No, there's actually a system and someone responsible for looking into these things so that everyone feels safe.
Absolutely. And they might call that a safe team. They might have a safe team or a safe individual, and they're trained in that. And they're also, their responsibility is to train all the staff and all the leadership. So everybody's trained. Right. You know, a lot of these missions bases, we have children on base. Yeah. If we see something, we need to say something. Yeah. If somebody is approaching a child in an inappropriate way, all of these things need to be handled legally and immediately. Yes. And to be loosey-goosey with this stuff is really just shooting your ministry in the head. Because nowadays, everybody has a cell phone. Everybody can video. There's a really great podcast called Wake Up and Win that is a young couple that bring out ministries who have done things that are inappropriate. And they put it up on YouTube for millions to see.
Because when they swept it under the carpet, whatever was done in their church or ministry, it eventually gets shouted from the rooftops. As
That's right.
Says.
Scripture says, and it's right, because leaders should be reprimanded publicly. It's right. And so, you know, I didn't mean to go in depth in this, but I think it's such an issue today because we're seeing a lot of ministers fall.
A lot.
Pastors, leaders, very missionaries famous, fall. And that's where I'm saying some of these people are not Christian anymore because they're not living like a Christian. Yeah. And they're wolf in sheep's clothing. And you would never know it. And so I think part of what causes people to do this is celebrity culture. Yeah. Anytime you take a man or a woman and you start to cheer them and put them on a pedestal and treat their words as thus saith the Lord.
And that's the man of God or the
that's
woman
the
of
man
God.
Or the woman of God.
Them. They hear from God.
That's right. And when you do that, you're setting yourself up and you're setting them up for failure because no person, no human being can carry that kind of weight and we're not meant to. Yeah. And so when you're putting someone on that kind of pedestal, you're literally helping them and pushing them towards extramarital affairs, stealing money, having a mental or emotional breakdown, having a divorce. These things happen to people who are put on these pedestals. And so by doing that, it's the most unhealthy thing you can do in Christian leadership. And it's not very biblical. Jesus was on his knees washing feet.
Right.
Right? Yeah. That's the kind of leadership example we have. Okay, so step 1.
Step 1.
You go to God. Number 2.
Step 2.
You go directly to the person. You go kindly, sweetly, sandwich it in love. You say something nice in the beginning, say the truth, finish it with something kind at the end, like, thank you so much for listening to me. I really appreciate your friendship. Say that at the end. And then, okay, what happens if you do number 2? You go to them, just the two of you talking. Yeah. And they respond badly. Then what do you do?
Right. You approach the person and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy or whatever. It's like, oh, you don't find resolution. So what does Jesus say to do?
And it's interesting. The first thing he says in the verse in Matthew 18 next is he says, but if you are unsuccessful. Yeah. So he acknowledges sometimes, now not a lot, but sometimes you're going to be unsuccessful. Then he says to do what?
Step 3.
Take 1 or 2 others with you and go back again, so that everything you say may be confirmed by 2 or 3 witnesses. So this person that you bring with you, this is a key person. You're not just going to grab some guy off the street. You want somebody who's a peacemaker, meaning they're a woman or man of God who's probably known by both of you. They're not coming to be on your side and gang up on the person.
No, that's horrible.
You're not prepping them with a lot of negative comments to attack the other person.
No.
You're asking actually them to come and be objective and to maybe help you to hear the other person or them to hear you. Again, you might be from different cultures, maybe very different personalities. And so you need someone to help bring you together and be a peacemaker. And that's a key role. And so this is what Jesus says, but he also says, so there's witnesses. So there's accountability there. You just stepped up accountability. So someone else is seeing whatever is happening and hopefully they can help to stop it before it gets worse.
Yes. And I feel this person is a peer. This is somebody who's on the same level as both of you. They're friends with both of you. They're not a hothead. They're calm.
They're evenly keeled.
They're spiritually mature.
Yes.
And because this is step 3, I want you to hold up 3 fingers. There's 3 of you. Now it says 2 or 3, but, you know, bring at least 1 person, 2 max if you need to. But I think 1 is better because it's less intimidating. Yeah. I mean, I guess if it was someone of the opposite sex, I might bring two. I might bring a man and a woman together so that you can help with perspective.
Right.
And so many times in YWAM, we work with people of other cultures. And so if someone's sitting there and says, oh, when he said that, he meant this. And then you're like, oh. And then the other person's like, oh, she meant this. That's what she meant. Oh. It's just having someone help translate what's really happening is really helpful. And so if on step 1, 90% problems are solved, it's all the way up to 98 with this, because you've gone to them, you did second time, everything was clarified, somebody else is in the know about it.
And it obviously shows this is actually a serious issue. It's not going away. You can't just blow me off. We need to resolve it as a team.
Right. And I think this has been a problem for me. Like, I might go to someone directly to deal with it. They behave badly. And I've tried to get somebody to be the person to come with me to meet with this person.
Right.
I'd be like, oh, I need to meet with this person. I did the first step in Matthew 18. They're not really getting it. Things are not going well. Can you come meet with me? And I've had leaders in YWAM, people say, no, I'm afraid.
Yeah, they don't want to get into that mess.
They're like, I'm scared. I don't want to. And I'm like, yeah, but the Bible says, and I need somebody. And I literally couldn't find somebody. And and that's been a difficult process.
Yeah, because you can't just take your husband with you. That's obviously somebody it's on your side. You need a third party who's very open-minded.
Right. And so if this person had been trained in Matthew 18, they'd say, oh, of course, yes, I'll come along, because they understand their role.
Yeah.
But these people I've talked to have not been trained in Matthew 18. They don't understand. And then I'm left hanging, right? And
Tough
something can go on.
position to be in.
And if something's not dealt with, it's like anything. It can go on for 20 years. There can be a weird feeling there for 20 years, 30 years, 40, your whole life, a bad feeling because it was never dealt with.
And this is why people leave bases.
Yep.
Because they have to see that person every day, and it's a creepy feeling. It's an uneasy feeling. You know, it's not love, right? You're like, do I have to live with this from now on? Forget it.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
I'm going to go somewhere else. And you know, it's a shame. Maybe God's called you there.
Right.
Maybe God has you to do something amazing there that's going to change hundreds of lives. But Satan put a thorn in your flesh. Satan came and put this situation, and he wants to have space and distance between you, and it's causing you to leave. He's trying to take you out.
Yeah.
We talk so much about listening to the voice of God and hearing his voice and recognizing it in YWAM, but rarely do we talk about listening to the voice of Satan. We listen to the voice and obey the voice of Satan when we do these sorts of things.
Yeah.
Because we're doing the anti-Christ, the anti-thing that God said to do, which was Matthew 18. So step number 1.
Step 1.
You go pray.
Yeah.
Forgive. Step 2.
Step 2.
Just the two of you. Go together, meet somewhere privately, calmly, sandwich it in love. Step 3.
Step 3.
You bring a peacemaker, somebody who's a peer. You haven't even gone to a leader yet. And this is why leaders, you want to teach your teams this method. They're already to step 3. They've done 3 steps and they haven't come to a leader yet because they haven't needed to, right? And most problems are solved. So it'll be so great for you not having problems on your desk.
Yes.
Yes.
Because you've trained people in this, right? So we did step 1, 2, and 3. Now it's step 4 where you actually do bring in the leader. This is what Jesus says.
Step 4.
So he says, if the person still refuses to listen after both meetings, take your case to the church. Then,
All right, no, let's stop there. Take your case to the church.
Yeah.
So the church would be basically spiritual leadership.
Spiritual authority. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're at your church, take it to the pastor if it's a problem with someone at your church. If you're at a mission space, you take it to your school leader or whoever the leader is of your group, whatever that leader is, whatever group you're in. If it's a big base, if it's a small base, it may be the campus director.
Right.
And why do you do that?
Why?
Why?
I'll tell you why. The reason why you take it to the leader is the leader needs to know that there's an issue with this person.
Yeah.
You've already talked to them. You've already met with them a couple times. It's bad. They need to know there's a situation. Why?
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 So they can help them.
Yeah.
You've tried and you couldn't do it. So your friend has tried. They couldn't do it.
Yep.
So it's time for the leader who may have some more experience, may have some more resources to try to help them. And so that's why you're going to the leader. And this leader, hopefully, if you're the leader, you're going to start the process. We call it a 3-month process, 3 strikes, you're out process of, hey, we're going to try to help you to be okay in this area and to work on this area. We're going to give you a book. We're going to give you a podcast. We're going to give you training. We're going to give you accountability. We're going to meet with you every week. We're going to try to help you in this area and help you grow.
Right.
And we try to disciple them. That's why what we do as Christians, we disciple people. But if they refuse to be discipled, if they refuse to grow, then that's when eventually we ask them to maybe this isn't the right place for them.
Right. And this is why we bring in a leader. They have the authority to have consequences happen.
Right.
And that's their God-given role, is to protect the flock and not let one person basically ruin it for everybody because they act so bad. And so, but they have the authority to also require them to do some things to change. Like you said, counseling, reading a book, one-on-one discipleship, and tracking their behavior. Right? That's what leaders do.
They need to start writing down the incidents, because maybe you might be the 3rd person to go to this leader about this person.
Right.
And then they're like, oh,
they need to know.
They need to know this is not
There's
fixed.
a pattern here.
There's a pattern.
Right.
Right. And that's why we don't want to use a little thing. Like, we forgive the little things. We look past little offenses because we
drank
don't.
my orange juice. And you're like, yeah, you guys can work that one out.
She wore my flip-flops. Like, whatever it is, if it's little, it's little, and you don't need to take it to the base director, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, but if it's something that's significant enough to go all the way to the top, then that's definitely significant enough.
Yeah,
to
it's
meet
a
with
step
them.
up each time of more accountability. You go to the person, they listen to you. Then they won't listen, bring in somebody else. There's more accountability. Then if they won't listen, bring in the leader. Even more accountability, because the Lord it's like he wants to have mercy upon people. He wants to give them a chance after chance after chance. And this is what Jesus is showing us how to do.
This reminds me of when I worked in a ministry and there was a person who was pretty mean, like just a mean person. And what I did is, instead of ghosting them or keeping them away, I actually drew that person close. I said, let's have lunch together once a week. I was like, I'm going to be super nice. I'm going to draw close. There's no room for the enemy. And I'm going to mentor and disciple this person how to be nice. And we worked on it for a long time, a couple of years. But this person was unable to do the changes that need to be made.
Right.
They had said some comments that were racist. They had done some things that were not okay. And they had to be asked to leave, really, the ministry. And but I started recording everything they did, because sometimes they do little things and you just forget. There's so many little things.
Writing it down, you mean, not audibly recording them.
No. I started making a list in a Google Doc of this person, every single incident, the date, what happened.
Yeah.
And that's another training, actually.
Yeah.
We'll do that on another episode of exactly what to do.
But this is the leader's job, is to keep watch and steward that community.
Watch over the flock.
Yep.
Right?
That's it.
And so then the last step.
Step 5.
Is to treat them as an unbeliever, Jesus says. Or as a tax collector, depending on your version, right?
Right. So he says, if they won't accept the church's decision, like the leader has spoken, this needs to change, this needs to happen, and they blow it off, it says, treat that person as a pagan or unbeliever or corrupt tax collector.
Wow.
Now that sounded so harsh to me most of my life. When I read that, I was like, Jesus.
That's so mean.
I mean, gosh.
What is this?
Aren't we supposed to have mercy and grace and all that? But that is having mercy and grace, actually. He's showing us that if this person is not able to function as a believer and do these steps, which he teaches us, guess what? They may not be a believer, or they may just not be ready to behave.
Might not be in the right place at the right time.
Right. And so he's saying, treat them like an unbeliever. Of course, how do we as Christians treat unbelievers?
Yeah, that's a good question. How do we treat
Do
unbelievers?
we hate them? Do we despise them? No. We actually love them.
We love unbelievers.
We want them to know Jesus, and so we're kind to them, we're forgiving, we give them grace.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't mean you condemn them like, you're judged for eternity. No.
No, but we love unbelievers, but we don't expect them to act like a Christian.
Right.
And that's the difference. So Jesus is saying, treat them as an unbeliever.
Yeah.
You love them, you care for them, but you don't expect them to act like a Christian. Now, maybe the base director, campus director, pastor doesn't ask them to leave. Maybe he keeps them on. And you have to be around this person. Then from that point on, you treat that person as, my job is to lead them to the Lord somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just see them in a totally different light, different category, and it really helps because then you don't have that cognitive dissonance like, wait, they're a Christian, but they say this. They say they love Jesus and love me, but then they treat me like garbage, and it's like, oh, wait a second, I see. They're not in the same place as me.
Right.
They're not doing good. They've
We're
got some
all
issues.
on a spiritual journey, and you may be really deep into your spiritual journey and very mature in the Lord, and they maybe are not at the same place in their spiritual journey because maybe they weren't raised in a Christian home. Maybe they have a lot of things to deal with. I don't know their story, but I'm going to give them grace and love them and treat them as an unbeliever by loving them into the kingdom.
Yeah, we had a scenario that was probably one of the worst betrayals in our life. And we did all the steps. We had people we worked with in ministry. In other words, we trusted them. They were our friends. We just thought everything's great. But then we kept getting more and more bad words coming back to us. Like, they're talking bad about you. They were showing frustration with us. And so we did, of course, what you're supposed to do. We went to them like, hey, what's going on? Something's not right here. And they're like, they weren't able to really honestly communicate what it was, but they were frustrated and they were not in unity, and there was some kind of angst.
And so then we went to, we actually ended up going to the leader.
We brought in multiple people,
Yeah.
even other people in ministry. It didn't get resolved.
Right.
We brought it to a leader, and it was in a denomination, so they were our covering, and they spoke into it, but it still was not resolved. And I was like, man, I just figured I could make peace with anybody.
Right.
I could work it out. I'm going to do whatever it takes.
As the Bible says, as long as it depends on me, I'm going to make peace with everybody. Yeah. And it was shocking because people usually like us. I don't know why. I don't know. We're pretty likable, I guess.
Well,
I
we're
hope.
pretty nice to people, but for some reason, there was just this
Offense. They were offended.
Yeah, but we couldn't put our finger on what
and we
is
couldn't
happening.
see it at that point. We were in our 20s and we just didn't have the same perspective we have today.
But in the end, we ended up basically, I read a book. It really helped me. It was called Antagonists in the Church. Okay. And the book basically showed that in Christian communities, in any community really, but sometimes people come in and they act like they really like you and they're for you and they want to be like you and be on the team. But then what they do is they begin to usurp or manipulate or work against you to get what you have and take it away.
Yeah.
And it
Talk
sounds-
bad about you behind your back.
Yeah. So it sounds
Right.
terrible, but when I read the book, it set me free. I no longer felt a personal offense. Like I just couldn't wrap my mind around, why would my friend treat me that way? And I said, oh, this is where they're at. And it's a weird place to be, but there are people who are like this.
Yeah.
And I was able to let it go. But still, sometimes I would think about them or see them and I would just feel pain and I feel anger.
Right.
And I was like, Lord, I refuse to carry this around. I want to be free. I want to walk in total forgiveness and release them and not judge them or whatever. Lord, and so I did. I prayed for them and I prayed God's blessing and his best. And I said, Lord, how can I get rid of these bad feelings and walk in freedom and love them well, right? Because that's what we talked about. How do you love well? And so I felt like he told me that we should start giving to their ministry and blessing them
Financially.
Now, we didn't have a lot of money to give. I can tell you that.
we did it.
But I wrote a check every month and I put it in the mail and they were receiving it. And it was just a sign like, I'm not your enemy. I'm not against you. I love you and I bless you. And it was after about a year. Now, these things go on a long time.
Right.
The Lord showed me something to write them a letter and I usually don't, who writes letters anymore? I mean, we lived in the same neighborhood even, but I wrote them a letter like, hey, I felt like God showed me something I could have done better in all this scenario. It wasn't that big of a deal, but I just wanted to say it. Like I learned something, maybe I could have done better. And the next time I saw them, it's like they were all smiles. The heaviness was gone. They hugged me and I felt total release. Like there is no more anger or hurt or pain or resentment or whatever. It was gone. It's a journey.
You know why that was released, I think, is you empathized with their pain in that letter.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to do one last activity as part of this podcast. We did the trigger activity. What are your triggers,
mapping.
your life mapping, the stare activity? Like, are you going down with your thoughts to your actions, to your, habits, to your bondage or freedom, right? We talked about Matthew 18, the 5 steps of Matthew 18. And you train your team regularly, Matthew 18 enough to where when there's a problem, you say to them, did you Matthew 18 that?
Did you Matthew 18 that?
And they'll be like, no. And they'll go do it, and everybody does that, not just you, but all your leaders know. Did you Matthew 18 that? And that, by the way, you can teach Matthew 18 and not do it yourself, which is wrong. So I want to encourage every person listening to the sound of my voice to actually pray, have someone drop something in your heart where you have an offense or a hurt or a distance with someone. And I want you to personally do the steps of Matthew 18 with that person. You walk it out. One of the YWAM values is
YWAM.
YWAM.
Valued.
Valued.
One of the YWAM values is do first and then teach. Let's hear Loren Cunningham read from her book, Values Matter.
Do first, then teach. Value 12. YWAM is committed to doing first, then teaching. We believe that firsthand experience gives authority to our words. Godly character and a call from God are more important than an individual's gifts, abilities, and expertise.
So we want to be people who do the Word of God and then teach it. So you do Matthew 18. Now, here's something that was such a great resource for us that we have to give to you.
Yeah.
And by the way, this, if you are single, it's for you and your roommates. If you're married, it's for you and your husband. If you have kids, it's for you and your kids.
For anybody.
It's for your team. You can use this in every relationship in your life with you and your parents. It is amazing. And we got this when we were on year 14 of our marriage and we weren't doing so well.
Well, we were doing terrible. It was the lowest point of our marriage. Now we've been married 33 years.
Yeah, we've been married 33 years. And every marriage or long-term relationship, if it's a sister, brother, parent, you're going to have dips in your relationship. If you're going to be together for many years, there's going to be good days and bad days, good months and bad months, good years and bad years. The whole year is horrible, right? This is normal. All right. And so we had a bad year, like year 7, which is the typical bad year in a marriage, I hear. The statistics say. Year 14 was really bad. And I think I was sick and you were upset because I was sick. We weren't getting along. We had 4 little kids. Our daughter was getting diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, which is a form of autism. We had a lot of financial stress. It was very stressful. We were not doing very well at all.
Yeah. We needed help.
We needed big help. And so our friends helped pay for us to go to the Center for Relational Care, which is a ministry out of Texas. They also have a location in Georgia and they have online and they meet all over. But they have this thing called a
marriage intensive.
Yeah, a marriage intensive.
And it was intense.
Oh my God.
We had like 4 or 5 days in a room with 2 other couples and then like 3 counselors. And we spent all day pulling we did the timeline, life mapping. We shared everything.
Oh, it was intense. But when you arrive, you have an 8-hour counseling session upon arrival.
Wow.
I remember. It was so intense. But I got to tell you, we went and we've sent many people in ministry over the years. Everybody we've ever known who has gone there did not get divorced, They stayed together and they got tools. I thought we knew everything. We'd been in ministry a while. We'd been to marriage retreats. We'd been to marriage conferences. We'd read marriage books.
Right.
I thought we could teach a marriage conference.
Right.
But we learned things and skills at this place that we had never learned before. And we're about to give you our number one thing that we learned there
Best tool.
that changed our life. It literally made it from, instead of arguing every day, we just didn't argue ever. Because instead of arguing, we did this, and it worked every single time.
Yeah, we call it the empathy script, and it's very simple, but yet it's very specific. You have to use it exactly, because the typical problem is when a married couple or anybody has an issue with each other, they start, you did this, you did that.
No, let's say it right now. You did this.
Yeah, but you did that.
But you did this.
Yeah, well, I know. I heard you do this other thing.
And you always.
Yeah, you
and
never.
Yeah. So that's the way fighting goes in a vicious circle and goes nowhere.
Not productive.
Nowhere.
So, but we want to love like Jesus. And so we call this the empathy script. And so if someone comes to you in the spirit of Matthew 18, could be your coworker, fellow missionary, roommate, spouse, anybody, this is the script. This is how they would read it. If they come to you, hey, you did this to me the other day. You said this certain way, or you acted that way, and it really upset me. You know, whatever it is, right?
Step 1.
And then you say
These exact words.
I am sorry that I said this or I did this. You repeat it back exactly what they said.
The exact words.
And then you say, this is the most important part, it must have made you feel whatever, angry, upset, confused, whatever it is. You try to name their emotion.
Right.
And then you ask them to confirm, is that right? And then you stop and listen, and they may say, no, I didn't feel angry. I felt deeply wounded because I thought you're my brother, but that was really, out of.
So then you go to the beginning of the script again. And the script is basically these words. And literally, when we first came back from our marriage intensive, we had the script written on a piece of paper. Now you could have it on your phone, and we would literally read it out. And so you say, I'm sorry that I blank, whatever it is that you did. It must have made you feel blank, whatever it is they just said it felt. Is that right? And then they're like, yeah, that's the way it felt. And this solves so many. This is just the first step of it. We're going to give you a couple steps. But usually when you're having a problem with someone, it's because they don't understand. Like, you don't understand how you made me feel, right? But this immediately solves that problem. They know what they did. They said what they did. They're saying they're sorry. They're even acknowledging how it made you feel.
Yeah.
And they're asking you if that's right, if that's exactly what happened. And so you're like, it's like a relief, just like,
They get it, what happened.
they get it.
I don't have to try to
Explain it to them.
twist their arm and try to force them to receive what I'm saying.
Try to make them understand. I don't have to do any of that. They immediately did it because they said, I'm sorry that I...
It's affirming the person's feelings as valid.
Right.
That you did something and it really affected and impacted them, and you know what you did. You feel the weight or, of what happened.
And I think that's how this changes this vicious cycle of fighting, is it's that you did this, you did this. It's like, I'm sorry I did this.
Right.
I made you feel this way. And then you realize how they felt. Because so many times we're so in our head about how offended we are, we're not realizing how the other person is feeling. So it makes us stop and think, what did I do wrong? And how did I make them feel?
Yeah, it's like you're walking in their shoes. You're making yourself do that, like to understand how they were impacted by you.
Now, that's step one. I'm
Step 1.
sorry that I blank. It must have made you feel blank. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2.
Step 2.
This is so important.
Is there anything else you want me to know so that I can better understand how I made you feel? Like, you're going another level deeper with this question.
Right.
Like, yeah, I am sorry I made you feel this way. But then you're like, even more, I'm being vulnerable here. Is there anything else I can know so I can better understand what I did?
How I
How I
made you
made you
feel.
feel.
How I made you feel.
Yeah. How else did you feel?
Yeah. And that's why they call it the empathy script. You're actually learning how to empathize with the way the other person is feeling right then.
You're putting your feelings aside to fully embrace and understand what they felt by
Right.
your actions.
Yeah. And when you're doing this, you're doing it with a caring tone, eye contact. You're really making them feel safe and cared for. And this is so important.
So whatever their answer is, like, oh, yes, thank you for asking me. I actually also felt this way. And then the person repeats, oh, I understand what I did. I'm sorry I did this. It must have made you also feel this way.
Is
And
that
again,
right?
affirming it. Is
Yeah.
that right? And just making sure they're like, yes, you're getting it.
Right. And so you may have to go through 2 or 3 different things that you made them feel or that you did to hurt them. Now, if you're in a marriage or in a relationship, dating relationship, or a roommate or siblings, whatever, it's better not to deal with more than 2 or 3 issues at once. It's just too overwhelming.
Yeah.
You
It's
may have-
emotionally draining.
It's exhausting. So you just want to deal with 1, maybe 2, 3 max if you have to. But it's really good just to keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
You know, like just keep it simple. And so number 1,
Step 1.
I'm sorry that I blank. It must have made you feel blank. Is that right? Number 2,
Step 2.
is there anything else you want me to know so that I can better understand how I made you feel? Number 3,
Step 3.
you might have to start again if they added something else and repeat number 1 again. And then at the very end, number 4
Step 4.
is, will you please forgive me? And that's the way you want to act. You don't want to say, will you forgive me? That sucks. Don't say that. Or,
Yeah.
forgive me, all right? That's
Takes
a
lot
jerk.
of sensitivity.
Yeah, it takes a lot of maturity
Yeah.
to have a kind voice and to really be sincere. Now, the interesting thing about this is you both have to do the script, right?
Yeah. Even though that person came to you and they were offended and you had to acknowledge their feelings, now the way this works is the other person actually, they read the script and they find if there's something they did wrong in the situation, in the interactions, in the relationship, or maybe something they could have even done better. They realize it like, yeah, thank you for sharing with me. I do forgive you. And I want to say I'm sorry because I should have talked to you about this a month ago, but I put it off. And I know you felt the coldness. That must have made you feel. And they try to guess basically how they also affected the other
So
person.
I think we should act this out.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. So let's say something that happens all the time is Juan embarrasses me in public.
Yeah, so Mambo's a little prone to embarrassment, and I'm kind of prone to joke around too much in public.
He's
'cause
funny. He's funny, but any strength taken to excess is a weakness.
That is true. Yes.
So, okay. So let's do the script. Let's say I haven't been talking to you. I've been cold and upset with you, and you
Right.
come to me with the script.
Yes.
Ready?
Okay.
Step 1.
Mambo, I am sorry that I joked around out loud in Walmart today. It must have made you feel so upset because people thought when I was joking that I was serious. Is that right?
Thanks for coming to me. Yeah, when you joked around, that was really bad. But no, it didn't make me feel upset. It made me feel embarrassed. Embarrassed and yeah, maybe a little angry because I told you before not to do that and you keep doing it. So I felt embarrassed and angry that you didn't remember that I asked you not to do that anymore.
Yeah. Well, Mambo, I'm sorry that I was loud and joking around in public and maybe made people look. And that must have really made you feel embarrassed and maybe even angry because you've shared that with me before. Is that right? Did I get that right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
Step 2.
Is there anything else you want me to know so I can better understand how I made you feel?
Well, no, I think that's good.
Okay.
I think that's good.
Step 3.
Well, I just want to ask, will you please forgive me?
Yeah, I forgive you. I do. I forgive you. Okay, so now I'm going to do the script back to him, even though he's the one that offended me and I didn't do anything, but I'm going to pray and ask God to show me what I did. And then I realized I was giving him the silent treatment. So I'm going to start with number 1.
Step 1.
I'm sorry that I gave you the silent treatment and haven't really been talking to you for a few hours. It must have made you feel sad. Is that right?
Well, not just sad. I think what I felt was like, you hated me. Like I felt just...
Really?
Yeah, I just really felt like, oh, you just hated my guts.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry that I gave you the silent treatment for so many hours. It must have made you feel like I hated you. Is that right?
Yeah.
Step 2.
Is there anything else you want me to know so that I can better understand how I made you feel?
Yeah, I guess I just felt like I was being punished and that kind of hopeless. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the beginning now. I'm sorry that I gave you the silent treatment. It must have made you feel like hopeless and like I was punishing you. Is that right?
Yeah, that's how I felt.
Is there anything else you want me to know so I can better understand how I made you feel?
No, I think that's it.
Step 3.
Will you please forgive me?
Yes. Only if you give me a kiss and make up.
Oh, a kiss. Okay.
That's how you know you really forgiven somebody, if they'll kiss you. If you're married, we're talking.
Oh, yeah. Or
Otherwise, if they're like, no, I'm not kissing you, you're like, well, we probably haven't totally resolved
probably haven't
anything.
totally resolved it yet. Yeah, you should be able to kiss after you're done if you're married. So it's funny because we taught our kids the script.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so our sons, they would like be arguing about something silly in the living room or upset. And they'd come to us like, Mom, Dad, blah, blah, this is a problem. And we'd be like, okay, let's get out the script. And they would, because they know the script and they knew it by heart. They'd done it so many times. They would say, oh, the script, we're okay, we're good. And they start hugging
We
each
love
other.
each other.
We love each other. It's all good. It's all good. Because they didn't have to sit down and go through the whole script. So, yeah, it really helped our kids. And then our son was later a resident assistant, like an RA at his college. And he used to use the script in college with all the other students. And he's used it in his life and his relationships. And it's been a real great tool for our kids as adults.
It deactivates the enemy's plan to turn you against each other. It really removes that. It's like being a ninja. You understand his move and you're like, counter move. I'm not going to let you make my marriage or my friendship a wreck for the next month. We can solve it today.
Right. It literally takes an argument and instead you're communicating and you're finding resolution.
Yeah.
So that's why literally
Peacemaking.
when we learned this script, when we got it, we would sit down to use it and read it word for word.
Yep.
Really. Yeah. And I think what we'll do is we'll put a QR code to the script maybe in the podcast. Can we do that?
Well, it's an audio podcast, so there's no code visually.
Well, is there a way to like put it like in the description?
We can put it in the podcast description. So there'll be a link to the script and you can download it and please use it.
Yeah. Have it on your phone. Use it
If
as
you get mad at us, talk to us about it. Let us know how we made you feel.
All right. So now is the end of the podcast. We like to do something called Ask AI. So, you know, AI is something not to be afraid of. It's something to be used to help in ministry and to help further the kingdom of God around the world. I mean, some of the cool things with AI are that has language translation. So you can speak to people of all different languages with your sermons, your ministry. We ask AI to see, okay, how can you be a horrible leader? The worst leader when it comes to relationships. And as a leader, what could you do really wrong to really blow up your base, blow up relationships, and ruin your ministry? What would that look like?
Yes. Number 1, avoid conflict at all costs. Just pretend problems magically resolve themselves if you ignore them long enough. And bonus points if resentment quietly explodes later.
How does AI know these things? How do they know? Okay. Number 2, AI says how to blow up your ministry, ruin your leadership, and be horrible with your relationships is take sides immediately, especially your favorites' side. Hear one sentence, form a permanent opinion, and never revisit it. Fairness is overrated anyway.
Yeah, great advice. Thanks, AI. Here's what you do. Number 3, if you want to blow up your leadership and not practice healthy conflict resolution, shut people down emotionally. Say things like, don't be so sensitive, or this isn't personal, especially when it obviously is personal.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Number 4, this is how you ruin your ministry in the area of conflict resolution. You resolve everything publicly. Nothing builds trust like calling people out in the meetings or group chats and watching them squirm. Evil, evil, evil.
Or number 5, AI says, here's a way to blow it up. Confuse authority with volume. If things get tense, just talk louder.
Interrupt more.
That's basically leadership, right?
Yeah. Rolling over people.
Steamroller.
Yeah. Just, I don't know if people know what a steamroller is, but you're basically squishing people to death. Right?
Yep.
Number 6, AI says this is how you ruin your ministry in the area of conflict resolution. Focus on who's right, not what's right. Turn every conflict into a courtroom drama where someone has to win and someone has to lose. Always, I think what's important to remember here is we always want to do what's right and treat people fairly.
And we're looking for a win-win.
Yeah, not a win-lose. Like one person wins, one person loses. We want win-win. Good point.
Yeah. Number 7, AI's bad advice is change the rules mid-conflict. Move the goalposts, rewrite history, or suddenly introduce a policy no one's ever heard of. So, in other words, just
confuse everyone.
Make something up that is fake, like a fake resolution. Like, well, I guess from now on, nobody can borrow each other's clothing. That's the new rule. Like, what?
Yeah.
That doesn't solve the angst between these two people.
Or making a rule just because of a conflict, like just in the moment, you know? I call that like sometimes putting out fires. Like the reason why things are on fire is because, you know, you let everything get dry and brittle and you didn't water things. Yeah. And so everything got dry, caught on fire, and there's fires everywhere and you're just throwing water on it. If that's your leadership style, change it. Okay, number 8, weaponize silence. This is the one that really bothers me. It's stop responding, delay decisions, or circle back indefinitely. Emotional limbo builds character. This is the whole ghosting thing where literally, and this is the worst thing, you know, I've talked to ministries who've hired YWAMers and fired them pretty quickly. Number 1 reason, they don't respond to texts or people immediately. Everywhere in the world, every job, everywhere you go, if you're working, you get an email, you email them back. You get a text, you text them back. They want to meet, you meet with them. But for some reason in YWAM, there's been this unhealthy culture, and in a lot of ministries, where there's not responding at all.
Passive-aggressive behavior, whether they realize it or not. It's like, what is going on? Why hasn't this person responded for the last 3 days? They know I need an answer.
Right. So not responding. And, you know, we teach a thing called Kung Fu, which is like, hiya, or karate, hiya. It's like Bruce Lee, hiya. Hiya. Somebody emails you, hiya, email them back. Somebody calls you, hiya, call them back. Somebody texts you, hiya, text him back.
No procrastinating.
Right. No procrastinating. And actually, you're more free just to get back to them quickly, right away.
Yeah.
And it's showing care to people and respect in a basic level. And when you don't respond, it shows them you don't care about them. And worst case scenario, they feel like God doesn't care about them. If you're a leader and you're not responding to them, they're like, I guess God doesn't care that I'm here or that I'm doing this job. I guess I'll leave. And you'll lose so many people, so many great workers for the harvest just by ghosting them. So don't ghost people.
That leads to number 9.
Wait, hold on. One more thing to say on this.
Oh, okay.
Does Jesus ghost you? When you call on the Lord, does he answer? Jesus is there for you when we call upon him, and we're supposed to be like Jesus.
The only way I want to be ghosted is the Holy Ghost.
And one last thing. Sorry, this is my soapbox moment. If you can't get back to everybody because you literally get 100 texts a day, what you need to do is you need to get an assistant who helps you with that and takes care of it.
That's a management issue if it's that heavy.
Right. And
Gotta
if you're a leader with that many people coming to you, you have not trained up a team to delegate to, and you need to get on that. All right, keep going.
Amen, sister.
All right, I'm done preaching.
Number 9, never follow up. Oh, this goes right along with ghosting. Declare the conflict, quote, resolved without checking in later. Growth is optional. So it's pretending, basically, again. It's just, oh yeah, we talked about it, so it must be resolved. Meanwhile, everybody knows it is not resolved.
Right. Yeah, it's good as a leader to always circle back and say, how are things going with that?
Yeah.
How did that go with that? Remember what happened and check in with people.
Yes.
It's just basic care. And number 10, the way to be the worst leader, missionary, pastor, evangelist, team leader, on outreach, base leader is make it all about your ego. AI says defensiveness is key. If anyone challenges you, remind them you're the leader.
You're the boss.
And therefore you can't be wrong. You're the leader.
I hear the word from the Lord.
God talked to me, and so we're doing this because I'm a leader, I'm in charge, and God talked to me, so fall in line. Hey, if you're leading that way, you really don't belong in YWAM, because that's not the culture of YWAM. Yeah. We're servant-hearted leaders here, and people's voices and opinions, they matter because they hear from God equally the way you do.
Sometimes even more.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody's got a word from the Lord that's legit. I want to hear it.
So let's just do in review for the whole podcast. We talked about knowing your triggers and not being sucked into emotional immaturity and judgments because of triggering from your past. So understanding what your triggers are and being careful with those.
Yeah, and don't be a peace faker. La, 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 la. If you know yourself, if you're tending like me to peace faking or like Mombo to peace breaking, know that you tend to go that way and really move towards being a peacemaker like Jesus.
Right. And one of the main ways to be a peacemaker is to train your whole team in Matthew 18, revisit it every year. Make sure it's part of your culture so that everybody knows the statement. Did you Matthew 18 that?
Did you Matthew 18 that?
I want to just recommend a book if that's okay.
Yeah.
There's a book by Dr. Henry Cloud. He's really awesome.
Famous for writing Boundaries.
Yeah, the book Boundaries. He also wrote a book called Safe People. And that helps you to determine if this person that is not able to function in the culture of your ministry at this time, are they a safe person or not a safe person? And we'll talk more about that in future episode called Healthy Confrontation and Caring Release. But if we could recommend a book, it would be Safe People, so you can kind of know how to determine and spot when somebody's able to stay, or maybe they need to move on to another location because it's not really where God has them right now.
Yeah, and that may sound shocking for some people, but believe me, it is not. It is strong, healthy leadership. So I can't wait to share that episode. That's going to be a good one. So I want to thank everybody for listening, and please, if you got something out of this, would you share it? With maybe your team at your base or a friend. Let's help each other to become healthy leaders.
Right. Thank you for listening. Appreciate it if you could like our podcast, share it, review it. That just helps more people to hear this content and information. So thank you for listening. And we pray that you could grow closer and closer to those around you so that you could love God with all of your heart, your mind, and your soul, and love your neighbor as yourself.
Original music by Carissa Brooke.
Every person looking for harmony, for a life that promises more. Every nation caught up in rivalry, knowing that there must be a cure. But what if peace was more than our lack of secure. Soon our pain will just be a memory. All your tears have been counted for. And what if healing was more than a simple fix, but a promise of redemption that exists? Death to life is your new legacy. Look around at what he's building. There is hope for all humanity. Hear the sound of those who are set free. Death to life is your new legacy. Look around at what he's building. There is hope for all humanity. Hear the sound of those who are set free. Hear the sound of those who are set free. Let God rewrite your story. He's not afraid of your sin. Come taste of the future glory and let your new life begin. Let God rewrite your story. He's not afraid of